Karana and to,
Yeah.
if that
He
is
remembers what
of
he
did
yes, of it, what he had performed. But then, because he remembers something which already existed,
That is,
therefore that thing which existed is anadi. And Abhinanagupta then says, anaditvam lakshyate.
Bharata's story comes in the initial stage of Kali Yuga, and Abhinanagupta being a Kashmiri Advaita, as you said, Indra was the dancing god, means in the Natya Shastra, Shiva has been made as a center of for the dance and nritya and everything. Do we have separate verses or slokas in Rig Veda in which Indra is talking about, in particular, about Natya? Something like that?
No, he is only described in the mantras as the dancer. There is no, as far as I recall, I cannot quote because I don't have them by heart. The verses don't describe the art form. They only describe Indra as dancing. The Vedic mantras are stutis. They are prayers in which the various activities of devatas are described. And so one of the activities of Indra, I think it is somewhere in the 10th mandal, is described as the dancer. So here what I said, that we have an example, another example from an earlier text, Rig Veda, of of Indra as a dancer. Now, be careful. The fact that Rig Veda is an earlier text than, let us say, the Natya Shastra or Abhinanagupta does not mean that Indra is an earlier person or a force or a deity than Shiva. I don't think we should confuse between historical analysis and modes of worship or people believing in their devatas. Because for every believer, the devata does not belong to history. The devata is ever present. It is anadi. So we should not say that because Rig Veda's text comes first, therefore Indra is the creator of dance and not Shiva. Don't jump to this conclusion. I mean, those who analyze culture in the European method of anthropology and in terms of historical, quote unquote, historical references, will think in this manner. Because this is the history-centered analysis of the European kind, in which the world was created at a given time by God and will end, it's a linear thing. It happened only once. In the Indian system of all different darshanas, Shiva exists to this day. It is not that he took birth at a given time.
No, I am clear in that.
Yeah,
good. I am very clear in that concept.
You.
But I want to know that is there any verses which particularly talks about Natya? That is my question.
About Natya?
Yeah, that's what.
No, in the Rig Veda there are
no. That's what my question.
That's
but all
quite
these
clear.
things, what you said, I accept 100% because I am not into that type of thought.
Yeah. So, no, I am only making the distinction between different versions of different methods of approaching text, the European method and the Indian method. Yes.
I just have a doubt. Coming back to karanas, could we call karanas as a basic unit for nritta? Can we put it that way? I mean, I just have a doubt.
Yes. All right. Can I just postpone the answer to this question, because now I want to talk about Karana and see what actually it is. And then, I can give the answer, and maybe the answer will come in the course of that. But before I proceed, there will be other questions. Yeah. Yeah.
Even I have a question. Can there be karanas which is more than 108? Is there
More than 108?
innumerable karanas?
Yes,
only
yes.
fortified
I
as
mean, it's very clearly said here, and if Nrit is anadi, and analysis and classification is a constant, you can make 256, you can make 2056, because dance is a movement. See? So you can make so many. This is a classification.
Is it correct that Dhruva is a musical composition? Karanas were performed for a Dhruva maybe as a flow? No. And then they were recorded as, as you said, like a dictionary. Those were separated and sculpted. It was like a choreography. Dhruva was choreographed using these karanas.
No, karanas are not choreography. Karanas are like syllables, ka kha ga gha, cha cha ja jha na. And when you put these syllables together, like make a word Ram or make a word Khaga, then the language begins. You see, obviously the Varnamala could not have come into existence without the language. Now that the language is there, you analyze it, and then you give a Varnamala. And different cultures with pretty much the same sounds have given different Varnamalas. I think the Roman alphabet has only 26 letters, A, B, C, D, which it has taken from the Greek 24, alpha, beta, gamma, delta, the 24. So these are classifications which we make of something that exists. When the teaching process begins, then we adopt the opposite method. For analyzing something, we say, okay, this is what I have analyzed. So you start reading what the analysis is. But before you analyze anything, you see the whole, the totality. So one person makes 24 alphabets, another culture makes 52 alphabets, as in the Indian languages. So somebody can make karanas into 200, somebody can make it into 50, because these are just classifications of the movement, so that this classification helps you to learn the art form. Just as the alphabet helps a child to learn to write and to pronounce correctly.
I don't understand the connection. Why does Dhruva come here? Because Karana.
How does Dhruva come?
Yeah.
Now, Dhruva is an earlier art form. Let us say it is the primary Bharatnatyam, okay? For the sake of simplicity, let us say this is an art form. Dhruva is a dance form. These are dances. Dhruvas are not a string of karanas. Dhruvas are dances. They have separate names. Utthapani Dhruva, Asarit, Margasarit, Vardhamanak, Ulyopyak. All these Dhruvas were dances. Let us say composition. If you are familiar with the contemporary language in English, composition. So these are dance compositions. I'm sorry, I should have said this much earlier. These are the dance compositions which were danced in the Vedic yagyas. And these, they came into, welcome madam, Sundariji. These are dance forms which came into the art of Natya and theatre. Then at some period, probably by Nandi, they were classified. The movements were classified into little parts and they were called karanas. Now karanas can be used to make all other kinds of compositions. Now it is a grammar. That's it. Yes. Any other question? I know this is a very fundamental issue, and this chapter, the 4th chapter, is for you extremely important. And last time when I gave a similar discourse at the University of Madras, we could not go through it for not even one whole day, but we had to do 2 whole days. I hope you won't tax me that much, because you seem to have grasped it very well already. Now, let us see what the text says and how it defines it. See, I don't want to go on reading anything more from the text. Let me come to a fundamental question. Is a karana a fixed posture? When you see a karana like Talap Pushpaputam or the last one, Ganga Avatarana, then a posture is shown to you on the temple wall or by the painters here, as in the text of Natya Shastra. So is this fixed and final posture a karana? Or is it the end of a certain movement that you make and come to it? Or is it the beginning of a movement? How do we decide? What do the commentators and what do the texts say? Look, before we go to commentators, and let's go to common sense. Just as in music, we don't jump from one note to another, but we either slide through some sort of gamaka, by a slide or by a gamaka, we go from one note to another. Similarly, in a particular dance sequence or an activity, we will be going from one to another. So it cannot be staccato, it cannot be just in jerks, it has to be in a movement. So the question then is this the end of a movement? And it seems that the general opinion, perhaps based on Abhinava Bharati, is that it is a movement which used to take place, and these are the conclusion from one to another, and in between there is the movement of hand to arrive at that position. Now, what possibly could be the different ways of making these movements? I really am neither competent, nor am I, because I have not practiced and learned dance, so I have no opinion on it. I can only tell you what I have read and what is here. Abhinanagupta describes it like this: Purva kshetra samyoga tyagena samuchita kshetra antar prapti parayanta eka kriya tat karanam iti arthaha. So what is the arthaha or meaning of a karana? It says Purva kshetra samyoga tyagena. So there is a position in the Purva Kshetra, that is the Kshetra of dance or the area of your body. You leave that. And then Samuchita Kshetra Antar Prapti Paryanta, till you have arrived properly in the Samuchita Kshetra Antar Prapti, till you have arrived at another Kshetra till the end of it, because Paryanta means the end of it. Eka Kriya Tat Karanam. So a Karana is not just a fixed posture, it is a Kriya. Now the text describes only the final. When it describes Talpushpa Putam, then it says this is how the hands will be, this is how the feet will be. What they are describing is the last part of it. The final posture taken at the end of that Kriya. Kriya, of course, has to be a movement. Kriya means action, isn't it? Kriya also means the end. I don't know, in Hindi it means cremation. Khadam, kar diya, kriya ho gayi. Kapal kriya, that when you are sort of sending your father to heaven and doing the final cremation, then you break the kapal. So kriya is action, but then kriya has several meanings. Here, Karan is the end of that movement from the earlier posture to the last position which gives the name to that posture. Is that right? Now, do you have any questions at this point? Yes. One by one, either of you can ask and use the microphone so that there is a recording of your question.
It's just to ask, repeat the definition of Karana, what you said right now. Abhinanagupta's definition of Karana, the words.
Oh, you want the words? You want to write down the Sanskrit?
Yeah. No. With the content of it. Repeat the sentence, because...
The sentence?
Yeah.
Well, if you can write, I'll just speak out the sentence. Or should I explain it to you?
Yeah, re-explain.
Okay, all right. So I'll read out and explain. Purva Kshetra Sanyoga Tyagena. Now this means that you are in an earlier position, Kshetra, area, and you give that up. By departing that Purva Kshetra, Tyagena, by doing the departure from. Okay. Samuchita Kshetra Antar Prapti Paryanta. Paryanta means till the end of. End of what? Kshetra Antar Prapti. Antar here means different. Another Kshetra. By giving up the earlier Kshetra and entering into another Kshetra or another posture, another part of a movement, and arriving at the end of it. Till the end of it, Paryanta, Eka Kriya. The activity that happens from the time of giving up of the earlier posture till arriving at the later posture, that Eka Kriya Tat Karanam Ityarthaha. This is the artha, the meaning of Karana. In Hindi, if there are any Hindi speakers in Tamil Nadu, पूर्व देश के संयोग के त्याग से, यानी उसके संबंध को छोड़कर समुचित अन्य देश की प्राप्ति पर्यंत जो एक क्रिया है वह करण है। यह अर्थ हस्तपाद, समायोग एवं उसकी व्याख्या का है। सभी जगह उत्तर देश संयोग पर्यंत ही कर्म होता है। Then he goes on to explain the philosophic meaning, etc. Yeah.
Um, the end that you're talking about can be the beginning of the next.
Can be the beginning of the next. Obviously, it is beginning because you don't stop there.
Yes, so
This is a continuous movement.
yes, so it can also be the beginning. How do you know that it is the end? I mean, I'm not.
Yes, the only a good question. Why don't we call that the beginning? Yes, it is the beginning of the next karana, because the karana is defined by that last part, that last portion. You see, let me give you an example. You have a film and then you take stills out of the film. So let us say if you have a 15 seconds film, a shot of my going from here till there, and then you don't show the film but you show stills in it, what is called stills, slides in it, then you will see me rising, arriving here, going there, till there. Now one karan is getting up from here and going and standing there. So the position that I take at the end of this kriya, this karana, that gives the name to that karan, that position. The posture which I have taken at the end, it is known by that name. You see, the movement is continuous. You have to define that point by giving a description. You can't give a description of, you can't give a running commentary of unhone balla ghumaya and the ball is now. It's not a cricket commentary.
Yes, but when I am going from one point to the other, that involves a series of
Movements, yes.
Yes, and even they can be the beginning and the end.
Yes, that way
So,
yes.
So
are right.
So it can be different. For example, if my beginning and end can be this, your beginning and end can be from the mic stand to the.
Look, if we have decided on a composition and if that composition is dhruva, that is, it is certain that this is how it is to be done. If it is not being improvised instantly, as is now on television, every dance is done like epilepsy. So you never know where the hand will go and by whom. So I'm not talking of the dance of epilepsy. I'm talking of dance within a tradition. If some people have decided that, look, this is how we are going to do this movement. If they have learned it from the tradition, Guru Parampara, then you will do it the same way and I will do it the same way. It will take a course. It will take a track, so to speak. So you will go on the same track, you will do in between the same things that I will do or he will do, and then we'll arrive at a final position. Right? So it is the same because these are coming from dhruvas. But once you have learned these positions, then you use them to create new kinds of dance sequences. That's all. This exactly explains the need for classifying. That classification becomes an aid to create new movements. Just as alphabets, words, languages, alphabets and words help us to create fresh sentences in any language. You can say that this is the alphabet of dance. You may want to add some alphabets because sometimes new sounds come into languages, then you add new alphabets.
Bharatji,
yeah.
Sorry, is there a mention of, I'm saying the text in somewhere, what is the duration taken to, or what is the kind of a kala pramana for every karana being performed? Is there any mention like that? Or what?
Of tala?
Of tala, of lyre,
No.
I'm saying.
When dhruvas are described, then it is described that this dhruva would be done in such and such tala, trayashra, chaturashra, what kind, chart, chuputa, etc., etc. Because obviously dance cannot be without, as I said yesterday, that it is the drummer, the mardangika, who is sitting there and controlling each and every movement, not just of the dhruva dancer, but of everybody on the ranga. Yeah, certainly.
Is the time period for any current, in the sense, if you say one movement to the other, for that matter, so because I once again come to the same point, is that like, is it perfectly defined? Is that this karana would take so much time, or they may take so much?
No, how can they?
No, I'm not saying about time period as such. I'm saying about laya. I'm saying about, is there a discussion on that? This could have a bigger.
Let me ask you a counter question. Why should there be a relationship defined for a karana with a tal?
No, Bharatji, on a very practical note.
No, it is neither given. Nor, as far as I can understand, it needs to be given, because tal is to be used according to the nature of the prayog. So, it's very simple.
No. I'm asking a very practical note in the sense, because now we understand the entire form to be only in units called adavas. We understand the entire form.
Yes.
The form which I am familiar is Bharatanatyam. And we understand the basic movements as adavas, like the basic movements.
Yes.
But every adava has a kind of a rhythm to it, and the one is done for 2 avarta, and some adavas are done only for 1 avarta. You can.
Right.
There is a way, permutation combination, you can extrapolate 1 adava to 2 avartas, or you can truncate it to. That is there. Of course, while you expand it or you apply that. But I'm saying as a basic codified training, when we give a practice to when we teach someone, and there are some parameters we use.
What you are asking me, if I can redefine, is like this: that was there a system when karanas were taught as 108 karanas, that come, let us perform. Just as in a school you say ka, kha, ga, gha, and everybody recites. Now look, I don't know. Because I have not read this being done in any text or in reference. And Natya Shastra is certainly not going to give you this, because these are part of the practical trainings that must have happened. Now, what exactly were the methods adopted 2000 years ago? At least I cannot tell you. Because I have not read any other text in which they give descriptions.
Sorry.
Guruji wants to tell us something.
So
yeah.
I think karana, the word action, is there in meaning like any action? Karanam. So it is in the process of the action, the freeze and posture. There we cannot have any rhythm. For example, only one, then if you have the next, then only we can have the rhythm. Only one beat, we cannot tell any rhythm. From one beat to another beat, when there is a gap, then only there will be a rhythm. If it's a frozen posture, we cannot think any rhythm for that. So this is in between the one place to another place. There is a frozen, just a thing, so there cannot be any rhythm for that. After one to another, if you are moving to one point to another, then there can be a layam, then there can be a rhythm. Only just one posture, you cannot have a rhythm. And if you take to another posture, according to your speed, the layam will be different.
It depends on the composition you make.
So how you for one posture, one karanam, we cannot have, I think, any. No, a karana is not in the process. We take a freeze and posture. That is karana.
Look, it is. Just a minute.
That is my understanding. That's what I'm telling.
Just a minute. I think what Guruji wants to. Please take the mic and let us have a proper discussion. I am not able to hear what he is saying. Yeah. Exactly.
Then how can we ask for laya? That's what Guruji is saying.
Just a minute. Look, I know this is the great point of contention, and this is where, as it is defined and when it is given, a karana in its description is the last still of a particular movement. Because a karana is a movement, but it is defined by that last still which you take. Now in that last still there is no tala. The tala prayog will be in that movement, and not just movement of one karana, but of several karanas. Now let me put an end to this discussion just for a few minutes. We'll come back, because remember, they are not just ending here with karana. They say that two karanas make a matrika. Then more than one or two or three matrikas make an angahara. And then several angaharas and sister angaharas make a rechaka. Now what is performed is an angahara.